and I tell the young kids this when I do the seminars and things. This is animation. It's animation. And if you really want to learn how to animate your body, either be no hair at all or put a mask on, because when you have no hair, you don't have the ability to shake your head.
Right.
So you have to be more animated with your body. Because
Like
you don't have the blonde hair to shake and do the nonsense like that. And with me, a guy can hit me and back goes the hair and the hair's flying and my arms are moving. But I learned, because I wrestle with a mask on a lot, and one of the fellow that was a medic told me, he said, you need to be more animated now with your body, because one of the old guys named the medic.
Oh,
they were two guys dressed in the white.
Yeah, all white, right?
They were down in the South and they were a great tag team. And he told me, because I went out and wrestled with a mask, and these guys have been wrestling with a mask on for 20 years. He said, now you have to be more animated because you have no face. You can't show anger. You can't show fear. You can't show pain. You have no hair to flop around. So now you got to move your body.
And that's the thing, is these young guys, they have no facial expressions. Everything looks like a flat line like this.
And then they have no body movement.
Exactly.
Bret Hart got away with it because at least he had body movement. Bret didn't have any facial expression, but I mean, he was.
And then eventually it became his gimmick because he was like the stoic.
Right.
So, but yeah, but that's why I've always had long hair, for the simple fact that I could flop it around.
It makes the whole thing much easier. Yeah. One punch and the hair goes flying. It's so much better than the guy hitting you one time really hard and you go, Jesus, shit.
Yeah, I thought I owed you money.
And animation's hard for people to learn. It's very hard for them to learn.
But I don't understand why. Like, to me, I don't get why it's hard to learn. Like, that's the one thing I could never understand is like I used to, this is how I would teach guys in seminars. I'd make them lay on the ground and I would just kick them until they, started flopping around right. But I never understood. Like, to me, it's like like an electric current. You get hit in the stomach, you double over, but then you pop back up and then you double over some more, and then it's a little less and you open up. And to me, I never understood, and apparently it must be the most difficult thing in the world to learn, but I never understood why it is.
It's hard. I don't either, but I'll give you an example of two guys. Actually, I'll give you three.
Well, those are the grappler. Awesome heel.
Right,
Denton.
right.
With the mask?
With the mask on, but totally animated.
Yeah.
Lex Luger. No animation.
Nothing.
Lex could go forward and backward.
Robotic.
Ultimate Warrior. I told him, I said, listen, you don't really run to the ring. You don't really shake the ropes. You work the ropes. And once he learned to animate that, it helped him. Once he learned to run with his arms and legs without actually running, it helped him. And the other one had to be, Mega Man Tom Magee. You guys probably don't remember him.
I've heard the legend.
They brought him in. He was actually the one going to be more than
the next Hogan.
Yeah, next Hogan. 6'7", great body on him, strong, but nice guy, good personal guy. Very plain Canadian style on the interview, like Bret. But he could do backflips. Here's the first guy that's 6'7", 300-pound bodybuilder who could get on the top rope, do a flip, and land on his feet.
And not tear his quad.
Very acrobatic. Well, you only tear quads and stuff if you're taking steroids and drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about that.
I'll tell you what, when those quads start tearing and those muscles start tearing, it's a sign of steroid abuse.
Yes. There's a difference between steroid use and abuse.
Right. I didn't abuse.
Exactly.
I might abuse a lot of other things, but I'd never abuse those steroids.
So how did why didn't they stick around with Magee at least? Get somebody, how long could he have been? They couldn't say, you know what, he's pretty rotten, but we'll get somebody to work with him, because
he had what is very hard to find in good athletes, and it's lateral movement.
But he was worse than Lex.
Yeah. He had no, and Lex was a football player, which surprised me because most people that play sports, especially playing pro sports, they have really good feet, legs, lateral movement.
Right.
It's that move.
Right.
It's
a hip, but it's from the hips, which I think a lot of linemen, but the linemen are more just pushing forward.
When you said you get kicked in the stomach, you're gonna bend over like this. See? And you're gonna turn sideways.
Right.
You get kicked in the stomach, you go.
Yeah,
Oh.
except for Goldberg. When I talked to him, when I had to work with him, and he goes, "Oh, if somebody hit me, I wouldn't sell it." And I'm like, you know what? All right, I'll see you in the ring.
Okay,
It's ridiculous.
Fine. Okay, then
Ridiculous.
I guess you just have to have a match by yourself. Then I won't hit you, but then you better not hit me.
I mean, Goldberg had 2 good matches his entire career, so I mean, or 3, I think.
I don't know. He was something, huh? Bret Hart did. Let me get to
He
that. Let me get to Bret Hart real
Okay.
quick. This motherfucker does an interview. He does an interview and he tells people that I worked too soft. I wasn't stiff enough.
That's the art form.
I wasn't stiff enough. So I say this. Hey, Bret, if you had to work a program with somebody for the next 5 years, who would you want to work with? Me, who never hurt you, or Goldberg, who gave you 1 kick to the fucking head and gave you a seizure? Now, you tell me. Was it not a stroke? That's what it was. Totally put you out of business, Bret. Put you out of the business. But I work too soft for you.
So I'm gonna guess there's some animosity here.
Well, I mean, don't go tell somebody I work too soft and the guy that worked too hard kicked you in the head and ended your damn career.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, if I say, listen, Raven, I like you. You never hurt me. We had great matches. But if the next guy that came along kicks me in the head and almost killed me, I wouldn't go, oh, you know, Raven and I had great matches, but they weren't as good as they could have been. Wow, this guy kicked you in the fucking head. You're out of the business. Who'd you rather be in the ring with, Raven or this guy?
Did he say this after he got kicked in the head?
Yeah, this was an interview he did about a year or so ago.
Really?
Yeah.
After he got kicked in the head?
Yeah, it's been about a year. He'd been kicked in the head about 3 years ago, wasn't it? 3 or 4.
I don't see.
And I was always good friends with Bret. We had good matches together because I understood his style and I learned to adapt to what he did, which was the same thing every night. Kind of like Ric Flair, you know.
Woo! Yeah, I always thought that was ironic that Bret healed on on Flair for doing the same thing every night, and then he did the same thing. I never got that.
And then guys say, "Well, you're bitter, or you say bad things about people," but then they take shots at us.
Sure.
Flair took a shot at me. Bret Hart took that shot at me.
Oh yeah, Flair took a shot at me, and I thought to myself, I go, wow, I go, how bad is that I'm in his purview? That he's like 87-time world champion, and he's going to take a shot at me, and I never even got the chance to be on that level.
Eric Bischoff took a shot at me. For what? He even took the shot on national TV. Oh, the guy I loved to fire the most was Honky Tonk Man. What
He's
does
just
that have
putting
to
you
do
over.
with me?
He's just putting you over anyway.
Any publicity's good publicity.
It's
Thank
true.
you so much. Yeah, but I mean, Flair says in his book, Honky Tonk Man would have never drawn a dime. He'd never been a main eventer anywhere if it hadn't been for Hogan. I've been doing main event matches for 12 years before I even came to the WWE. Flair knew that. Now what I take is obviously he had nothing to talk about in that chapter.
What brought that up? That was in his book?
Yeah. Why would you take that shot?
Just apropos of nothing. He goes, oh, by the way,
yeah.
Honky Tonk Man. He's going, well, when I went to college and then I got into wrestling. Oh, by the way, Honky Tonk Man came to
He was tying it in with Beefcake being friends with Hogan, and Beefcake would have never done anything if he hadn't been friends. Well, listen, Arn Anderson wouldn't have been dog shit if he wasn't with you, Ric Flair. For Christ's sakes, he was so far up you couldn't breathe. You know, I've said this once before on one of Rob's things. I haven't told you, but a lot of guys had beefcakes. Well, Nash had Sean, or did Sean have Nash? Nash had, who was the guy that was going to beat up somebody in here? The drunken fool. What's his name?
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall. Beefcake he was Hogan's beefcake. Sure, yeah. Arn Anderson, you're Ric Flair's beefcake. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, whose beefcake were you? You were some. Steve Austin. Austin had, what's the guy? The fake Undertaker, Brian Lee.
Yeah, I have no problem with people getting their friends in the business.
Nothing.
I try to
that's
get
what it's all about.
Yeah, you're supposed to take care of your friends, but you only get them up to their level of skill. You know, I mean, you don't promote them past a certain point. But
there's nothing wrong with it, and that's what networking is all about. That's how we build friendships as we go along on the highways, and we did have good matches with this guy. That's how I was able to go from territory to territory.
Sure.
If you were a top guy or mid card guy, and I wrestled with you in say San Antonio for 6 months, and you moved up to Detroit with the Sheik, and I called you up, how's business going up there? Oh, it's pretty good, man. I got a good spot up here. If you want to come in, I'll put a word in for you because you knew me and you worked with me. and you felt like I could come in and contribute, and maybe if you were on top and I'm an underneath guy underneath you, I can help you. Joe LeDuc did it for me. The Bushwhackers did it. They'd be working on top. They'd call and say, there's a spot here for you. Come in. Because they knew I'd give them good support.
Sure. Well, you know what always bothered me? You know what really bothered me is this is how the business has changed because, every time I go somewhere, I bring my buddies. I try and get Sandman a gig or, even now in Indies, I always try and get Disco a job or whoever, Johnny Swinger, my buddies. And yet nobody else wants to help anybody. Like I remember when I was in New York and I said to like me and Ed used to be pretty good friends. We used to be pretty close friends. And I said, look, and Vince was jobbing me out. They weren't doing crap with me. And I said, look, just if you don't mind, just mention, hey, I wouldn't mind working with him or, maybe you should take another look at him and, give him something. And he goes, I'll give you a call back about that. Never heard from him again. Wouldn't do it. I'm just like, and then his best friend since, was at his wedding since before they trained together, Johnny Swinger. Swinger begged, said, look, please, you got to put in a word. Wouldn't even put in a word for him. And to me, I wish him all the success in the world. Because I'm not holding a grudge anymore. But to me, it's like people don't want to help their friends. And I just don't fucking get it because why would you not want to help your friends? How selfish can you fucking be?
I don't know where that all went haywire, but it went haywire during the time that
when the territories died.
When the territories died and the guys, everyone was wanting to bail from the territories and go to the WWF at the time. And when they got to the WWF, all the friends that they knew from the territories, they wouldn't even talk to you.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even sit near you in the locker room. It's like, we were just together in Calgary 2 weeks ago. Now you don't even talk to me?
Yeah.
We worked together. We shared our own blood in the matches. And now you don't know me anymore? So it happened that way. And it got to the point there was so much greed and so much envy that no one would put a word in for anyone.
Yeah. You know what got the worst deal out of that, and just going back, is Rip Oliver. So they Vince took everybody out of each, territory. Right. The top guy took Rip Oliver out, who was the booker and the top guy in Portland, put him on TV as the super ninja for one episode, fired him. Right. And then Rip was done because then Lynn Denton, the grappler, took the book from him. He gave Lenny the book, and then Lenny wouldn't rehire him for 5 years. And
but then you got a guy like Piper sitting there who's got Vince's ear.
Yeah.
Who had worked that territory, and they'd all taken care of him and did whatever Piper wanted. Do you think Piper would have sat down with Pat or with Vince and said, it's a pretty good guy here, keep him around?
Sure.
I think he can do something. Nah, he wouldn't say anything. Nobody would. They wouldn't say anything.
Actually, I have to say Piper's gone to bat for me a few times, so I will say that. But so I can't heal on him. But
go ahead, heal on him. But Piper's okay. He.
But he did for me. But the only people that I know that have really gone to bat for me really though is him, and DDP actually hooked me up with a couple gigs. But for the most part though, people just they don't value their friends. They kind of. It's like or you give people help or whatever, and then they don't even acknowledge that you gave them, Disco Inferno. I gave him his gimmick, I invented it, and then they never give me credit for inventing it. He goes, said it was him and Borash or something. I'm like, you fucking dick. Yeah. He's one of my close friends, and he's a dick.
Yeah, yeah, that's always a good one when you tell someone and you give them advice and they never mention it.
Yeah. It blows my mind. It's just I don't know, and I don't know when this business got so fucking selfish. With especially and the more money we're making, I guess just people don't realize that, back in the day, we were making when I first went to Memphis in 1988, I think I averaged about $300 a week. It was about a 2,000 mile a week drive.
About 2,000 miles.
Yeah, 2,000 miles a week. And for $300, and I was happy. I couldn't believe I was getting $300.
Yeah.
I was ecstatic. And now. I'd have done it for free. I'd have paid them to let me come to the territory,
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.